What is good with you guys, man? Thank you for tuning into another video. So this is kind of like a part 2 of where we left off in the last video. Just a little update on the E30. It is back here on the lift and the transmission is now in. A couple things that were done off camera was obviously the transmission, the clutch, and I also got the valve cover in. I don't even think I made a video on the top end of the motor. The head is also back in. Also got the valve cover in. Got the turbo manifold on. It was already on, so put the head in with the manifold, and everything seems to be fitting really nicely. So even test fitted the turbo up here, and it looks like it will be clearing the strut tower. So the only issue I am having at the moment is with this transmission brace. So obviously you guys know that the get rag was in here before the ZF, and the get rag was sitting at kind of like a tilt like this, I want to say, and that's why this transmission mount actually worked for that transmission. But now since the ZF is in here and it is sitting a little bit straighter than the last transmission, this mount just doesn't want to line up. So picture another mount like this, it just wouldn't fit on this side, so I can only get really one mount in. The only other way of making this exact brace work is to cut the other mount. So I have the other mount right here, and we're gonna try cutting this today to make this work. This is already a pretty solid mount. I don't think it's gonna really make a difference either way. The mount is already really stiff. It's a solid mount, so by cutting it, it won't really affect us at all, and this will work. So I'm gonna try to draw a line somewhere around here, make some marks, try to get this mount cut, and if we can get this to work, we can finally bolt up the drive shaft and the complete drivetrain will be done already. So I'm hoping this works, and yeah, we can finally finish up the drivetrain, get all the heat shields back on, and everything will be done on this side of the motor. And all that needs to be done up top is the manifold needs to go back in, thermostat housing. I also tapped in with this oil feed line for the turbo. I'm gonna show you guys where I tapped into this upstairs when I do put the car down. For now, let's just see if my idea works. Hopefully it does, and I'll get back to you when this mount is cut. So, quick little update. It actually did end up working. Got the screw in there too. So now we're just gonna bolt up these two mounts, and after that, I think the drive shaft's ready to go on. So got the car down so you guys can actually see what's been done on top. Move this over. So the entire valve cover is on. This is how the turbo manifold sits. Believe it or not, this does still clear the turbo to be mounted here. I already did test fit it. Only thing that really needs to be done up here is the intake manifold, throttle body, and you know, everything that was in front here. So the clutch fan, the radiator, and she should be ready to start, honestly. So right now, I just have to grab my drive shaft somewhere in the back over here, and I'll see you guys when I do that. The issue that you guys will run into when you put a ZF in your E30 is the actual connection to the drive shaft on the ZF is a bigger triangle than it is on your stock E30 Guibo. So if you look at this, this is a small triangle, and you would need a big one in order to actually fit the drive shaft onto this transmission. Now, another way you can go about this is buying an E36 drive shaft with a 4-bolt rear, so you can still hook it up to your stock diff here. But I didn't go that route. What I did was buy a Guibo that also acts as a adapter plate. So as you can see, this is like a really weird shape. It's two triangles in one. And basically you have the bigger triangle on the outside. You throw the bigger triangle on here, and you can see the smaller triangle if you look close enough on the inside of this. And right here is where the drive shaft will bolt up to. So this is a really cool plate. I got this from Driveshaft. I really waited like about two and a half months for this shit to come in, honestly. Horrible customer service by them. I kept hitting them up and shit. They keep saying, basically going back and forth with me saying we don't have it, this and that, but then it's on their website. I already paid for it. Anyway, I was waiting for this for so long that I actually considered buying an E36 M3 drive shaft, but I was like, you know, let me just wait a little longer, and thankfully it came in. So now we're gonna bolt this onto the drive shaft, and finally bolt the drive shaft onto the transmission and install everything. Alright, so the solid guibo is all bolted up. Let's remove these bolts here so I can put this side onto the diff. Here. Alright. Back half definitely has to go on first. Let me see this shit now. Fuck. Transmon gotta come off, bro. Yep. So the trans mount gotta come off. Perfect. So I actually ended up finding the issue. The bolts are hitting the mount on the tranny. So I don't know what is going to be done for this. Maybe I need smaller bolts. I really don't know. I'm going to try to, because I got the center bearing bolts on. I'm going to try to just take off this guibo real quick and let's see what happens. No lie, I was over here for about 30 minutes just looking at this thing and seeing how the hell I can make this work. Finally got it on there, and whole drive shaft is on. Now I just got to do these bolts back here, and it should be good. But wow, was this a pain in the ass. This shit was crazy. So let me tell you guys what I actually had to do. As you can see, the bolts that go from the actual drive shaft to the guibo, well, this aftermarket stupid ass guibo, these bolts had to be flipped. So I had to take off everything one more time, install the guibo first like I originally did, but I put the nut in, the bolt in through this side. So the nut is now facing the opposite direction, which is towards the diff. So that's what I had to do to make this work. I asked a couple of friends that actually ran the same conversion kit here, and a lot of them told me they either had to do a lot of grinding to the actual triangle on the tranny, the actual mounting point on the tranny. They had to grind down enough space for this bolt to have some room for them to actually tighten this the right way, but I didn't feel like sitting here and grinding the tranny down all night. So I thought about just maybe if I flip the bolt, it'll clear, and it actually did. Everything is working as it's supposed to. I got to throw the heat shields on here. So with all that being said, I would stay later to do the intake manifold, but I really gotta go. It is getting pretty late. To show you guys where I tapped in for this oil line, this is actually a kit you can get off Seems Legit Garage. And it comes with a little, let me see if I could move some stuff around, get you guys to see it better. So right there it comes with this little fitting for you to tap right into the back of the oil filter housing. What usually sits there is just a banjo bolt that holds this oil line that comes from the oil filter housing to the Vanos, to the Vanos solenoid. So what you do is basically take the banjo bolt out and you install this, the nut they give you, and then you install the fitting onto it, which brings it out to here. So this will go over the motor to the turbo to feed it oil. It's actually one of the best places to oil from for the turbo on this motor. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna pick up on this same video when I install the intake manifold. I don't think I got enough footage in today. So I'll see you guys when the intake manifold goes on. So what's up everybody? Today is a completely new day. As you can see, intake manifold is already mounted on. Fuel rail is on. Coil packs are connected underneath this cover. But today is the big day where we see if this turbo can get mounted up, and so we can connect the rest of the lines to it. Other things I got done was the radiator hoses, clutch fan, belt have all been done. You can see where the drain line is down here. Went all the way down to the bung on the oil pan. So this is gonna come up somewhere around here. And I got a longer line just to be safer because I knew this would happen. So I'm gonna have to bring this over this way and cut it somewhere around here. I have to throw the turbo on and see exactly where it meets. Probably cut it right along here. It should be fine. So under of the feed line is already on the turbo. So this part is the part that attaches to this hose. And this fitting is actually a bitch to get on this hose. So first I want to mark it up and see exactly where it sits. Feed line reach, yes it does, no problem, it's perfect. So on the E30s, as you guys know, there is a little battery tray here because all E30 convertibles have their battery in the front. So I guess during production they always put this plate here on every E30. So this plate, the edge of it has to get cut just so I can run the 3-inch downpipe into a full exhaust down here. This is the wastegate tube, so it has to clear quite a few things. It has to clear the valve cover, has to clear the wastegate, so this definitely needs to be cut in order for the exhaust to work, which is not a big deal. Only thing I see here is the ground wire that I can simply move somewhere else and cut the plate. Shouldn't be an issue at all. So got the hose all marked up. You definitely want to put tape around these stainless steel lines before cutting them, because the stainless steel lines, they turn into little pieces of stainless steel and start flying everywhere without tape. So definitely throw some tape on it before you start cutting it. I got my measurements already. I'm going to cut right here. Obviously you guys need to source bolts, not just bolts but studs, bolts for the studs, and the T4 gasket or T3, whatever you have. You can get the divided gasket if you have a divided turbo. I don't, so this is for this specific application. But yeah, this hardware didn't actually come with the manifold, so I had to source it somewhere else. line is cut. Now it's getting shaved down in order to fit into the actual fitting. While that's getting done, while Pops is doing that, I wanted to show you guys some new stuff that's been added to the actual interior. So I got the boot back on, the ZHP shift knob, but the coolest part about the interior is right here. This gauge set is my favorite part of the interior by far. This AC vent actually pulls out just like this. It wasn't all the way in, so that was pretty easy, but when I was originally pulling it out, it was really hard. No, I did not cause these cracks on the dash, but this piece here, this AC vent converted into gauge set, I actually bought off eBay. So what you do is you take this AC vent completely out. You'll have two vents here, just like this. You'll have one, and where's the other one? It should be somewhere here. Oh, it's on the floor over there. 1 and 2. So you take those out of the actual piece here. It's all going to be one piece, and you'll see a divider in the middle of those two vents, which is right here. That divider has to be cut, which is just like how I cut this one. So you cut that divider in order to actually fit this piece in, and then you throw your gauges on top. I have 2 more gauges going here. This is for boost. I think I'm gonna put air to fuel here, and the oil pressure here. I believe I'm gonna tap into the cigarette lighter for power, and I'd have to, since this one is boost, I'd have to run this black wire all the way down somewhere into the bay and tap into the intake manifold to get boost, to get the actual boost pressure reading here. When this is all done and tucked away in here, I feel like this is the most OEM it can get. And you know, no gauges on the pillars or on the actual steering wheel. I feel like this right here, the dash is already set up in the E30 to face you, so I feel like this would be perfect just driving and looking at it, doing pulls and looking at it. I feel like this is already perfect the way it's set up. So after I get all the wiring done, this will get tucked in here. I think I'll save that for another video. Honestly, this video is kind of getting long as it is, but yeah, I really want to show you guys this because this is one of my favorite parts of this interior. Like I said, another thing that happened while we were trying to bleed the new slave cylinder, the master cylinder actually broke on us. Let me see if I can throw this wheel somewhere here. I have the 2 masters right here. So I wouldn't say the actual master cylinder broke. Here's the new one, and here is the old one. The actual hose connection on the master cylinder broke. So as you guys know, the master cylinder gets fed through here, and it has another connection down here that goes straight to the slave cylinder, but the feed connection for it is plastic, and this actually broke off into the hose that's down there that feeds it brake fluid. So went ahead and bought a new master cylinder when I didn't even have to. I thought it was a master cylinder right away because the clutch pedal felt way too light for too long. I thought I broke it by mistake, but that wasn't the case. It was actually the hose connection to the master cylinder. So yeah, I ordered one up. That little nipple here is about $9. So shit, after playing with this turbo for about an hour, finally got it on. The only bolt that really gave me an issue was this one right here. As you can see, I don't even know how I got that shit tight, but I got it tight. All the other bolts were fairly easy to get to. Top oil feed line coming from the vanos, not from the vanos, from the back of the oil filter is on, and I'm putting oil in the car. I'm gonna try to actually start it, but I do need to put in the air filter and connect the mass airflow for it to start. So you guys are gonna hear the first startup. Let's see, it even starts up. Huh? Is that?
Battery is dead?
Battery is dead. So not only does she start, she runs without misfiring, and I'm super happy, bro. Seeing all the work just come together. It's very satisfying, and it's very nice to finally see it all together like this. So when that master cylinder goes in, we can finally, you know, get this thing driving under its own power again until we send it out to Una Fabrication and get all the intercooler piping done and the full exhaust done. Then after that, we'd have to send it out to get tuned. So I hope all you guys enjoyed. I don't want to leave the car running for too long. Shit gets very smelly in here. Thank you guys for tuning in to all these videos, to watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the build on this car. I always wanted to build this car. I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces.